Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're digging into the first chapter of a really old letter written to a guy named Titus, and we're going to treat it like a tactical manual for a mission that was, let's just say, incredibly tough.
Wow, that is a pretty intense statement, right? And get this, the person who first said that was a Cretan prophet, talking about his own people. This quote just perfectly frames the massive challenge that Titus was up against on the island of Crete. You see, the early faith communities there were just a complete mess. So the Apostle Paul basically leaves Titus behind with this huge job. Fix it. So let's break down the game plan he was given to bring order out of all that chaos.
Okay, so this is where the mission briefing really starts. And what's the very first order of business? You have to confront the mess head-on.
Now this is where it gets really interesting. In the original language, that phrase, put into order, wasn't just some vague instruction. It was actually a medical term.
I mean, how perfect is that? It paints such a clear picture. The communities were fractured, just like a broken bone, and they needed to be carefully and precisely set right so they could actually heal properly.
So, you have a broken community. How do you even begin to fix it? Well, according to this letter, the very first step is to build a solid leadership team.
And this wasn't just, a friendly suggestion. This was what the source material calls an apostolic directive. Basically, a direct command from the Apostle Paul. The whole idea was to build a real structure with a team of godly leaders in every town. This was not supposed to be a one-man show.
The letter uses two different words here that kind of point to the same role, elder and overseer. Think of it this way. Elder is about their spiritual maturity, their character. Overseer is about their job description, managing things. They were supposed to be God's stewards, which is like being a super trustworthy manager of a household, responsible for its health and well-being.
But you can't just pick anybody for a job this important. The letter gives a very specific blueprint for what kind of person to look for. It's almost like a character sheet for the ideal leader.
And the number one non-negotiable requirement, to be above reproach. So what does that even mean? It means being a person with such solid integrity that there aren't any credible, legitimate accusations that could stick to them. It doesn't mean they had to be absolutely perfect, because nobody is, but their character had to be rock solid.
And this table just lays it all out so clearly. On one side, you have the must-haves. They had to be hospitable, self-controlled, a lover of good, and able to teach. And then on the other side, you have the must-nots. No arrogance, no quick temper, not violent, not greedy. You can see how this list isn't random at all. It was a direct counter-strategy to the liars, evil beasts, and lazy gluttons that were causing all the problems in Crete.
And there was a really good reason why they needed these kinds of strong, character-driven leaders. It's because there was a very active opposition inside these communities, causing all sorts of trouble.
So who exactly were these troublemakers? Well, the letter doesn't hold back. It identifies several groups that were undermining everything, and usually for their own selfish reasons.
The text calls them out directly: rebellious people, empty talkers, and deceivers. And it gets even more specific. Pointing a finger at a faction, it calls the circumcision group. These were people who were insisting that new non-Jewish believers had to follow all the old Jewish laws and rituals, and they were doing it for shameful gain, basically for money. And it was so disruptive that it was wrecking entire families.
The letter also warns Titus to ignore Jewish myths and the commands of people who reject the truth. Now, this is a really crucial point. This was not a criticism of the actual scriptures. It was a warning against all the man-made traditions and extra rules that people were piling on top of the core message, distracting everyone from what really mattered.
So, when you put it all together, appointing these good leaders, correcting the false teachers, it was all for one big goal: to create a healthy, stable community, to bring order out of chaos.
And this verse, man, it just gets right to the heart of the whole problem. The big issue with the false teachers was their hypocrisy. Their actions completely contradicted their words. It really drives home the ultimate takeaway here. In this worldview, what you do shows what you truly believe, way more than what you say.
And that leaves us with a question that's just as real for us today as it was back then. Think about any group, a company, a team, a family. Why is a leader's character just as crucial as their skill or their talent? It really makes you think about what holds any healthy organization together, doesn't it?